Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and it's that time of the month again. It's time for the Movie Nerds Club to unite once again, and this time we're going to be talking about our top 5 female-led action movies. If any of you are new around here, the Movie Nerds Club is essentially yours truly, along with Rachel from Rachel's Reviews, Alyssa from Mainly Movies, Ren from Ren Geekness, and Larry from LC Screen Talk, all coming together and filming separate ranking videos on the same topic. So far, we've covered our top 5 favorite Disney movies, our top 5 favorite horror movies from the 2010s, and our top 5 DreamWorks animated movies. If you'd like to check any of the videos that I made out, they will be linked in the eye in the right-hand corner. Also, I cannot stress this enough, if you all haven't checked out the fellow collaborators on this Movie Nerds Club, I cannot recommend them enough. All of their videos will be linked in the description below, all of their top 5 female-led action movies lists. So after you've done watching mine, go check them out, because I'm a big fan of everybody involved in this. Let's dig into my top 5 favorite female-led action movies, and I gotta be honest, this was a lot harder for me than I thought it was going to be. Not out of any personal bias or anything dumb like that, but just poring through IMDb lists and looking at female-led action movies, there's not a ton of quality there. So with that in mind, I should say first and foremost that there's going to be some movies on my list that are going to be kind of walking a tightrope in terms of female-led action movies. I will go into the context as of why that is when those entries come up, but I will just say first and foremost that I try to be as dedicated towards the female-led premise as possible. And with that out of the way, here are my 2 honorable mentions. Terminator 2 Judgment Day and Alien. Spoiler alert, Aliens and the first Terminator are on my list. Where are they? Well, you're just going to have to find out. But I will explain why the 2 movies that are my honorable mentions are my honorable mentions. And now, with all of that now out of the way, the actual list. Number 5. Hanna. Raise your hand if you all forgot this movie existed. I forgot about it for a very long time, but then, just on a lark, I remember watching it on HBO, and I remembered how awesome it was. So much so that I bought the Blu-ray of it. I think this movie is very underrated. It's got a great performance from Saoirse Ronan, who has gone on to do very good things in movies like Lady Bird. But there's also great performances from Eric Bana, who plays Hanna's father, Cate Blanchett, who plays the villain Marissa Viegler, and Tom Holland plays an excellent mini-boss to Marissa Viegler as Wait. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. No, not that Tom Holland. Tom Hollander. Honest mistake. I think Hanna is underrated because this movie doesn't get the love that it deserves. It underperformed at the box office despite positive critical reviews. And I think it is a shame because it has a very unique look, especially for a movie like this. The beautiful cinematography combined with the excellent score by the Chemical Brothers just makes this one of the most unique movies that I saw in the 2010s. My one knock against the movie is that the movie kind of falls into the Terrence Malick territory where it's just abstract for the sake of being abstract. But outside of that, though, there is a lot to love about this movie, and I hope that Hanna gets more love and respect in the future. Number 4, Mad Max Fury Road. Yeah, this is one of those tightrope ones that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, because despite the fact that Mad Max Fury Road is one of my favorite movies of the 2010s, it's still technically a Mad Max movie. I mean, Tom Hardy literally has, top billing, or at least right billing, which is higher. The point I'm trying to get at is this. Despite the fact that Charlize Theron has a significant presence in the movie, and arguably she is the beating heart of the movie, this is still a Mad Max movie. So, I mean, I don't make the rules. But it is on my list anyway because I consider Imperator Furiosa a co-lead. And honestly, what can I say about Mad Max Fury Road that hasn't been said by literally everybody? It's one of the best movies of the 2010s, like I mentioned. It's my favorite movie of 2015, and it was a movie that completely revived a franchise that, while respected, hadn't really been talked about in about several decades. George Miller basically took the modern rules of filmmaking and threw it out the window and said, "Alright, it's time to do my thing." And so he blew up real cars, shot on real locations, and used real stunts. It's the type of thing that would normally never be made in today's landscape. But it was made anyway, and movies are better for it. But not only is this a jaw-dropping spectacle, but this movie has an excellent story, with visual storytelling that is just unbelievably well done. With little to no dialogue, you can get everything that you need to know about Imperator Furiosa and the wives of Immortan Joe, with little to no dialogue. I believe that this movie could have been made with no dialogue, and the effect would have been just the same. I plan on making a Mad Max Fury Road video in the future, so I'll just stop myself right here, but yeah, this movie is incredible. Number 3, Wonder Woman. I have a feeling that this movie is going to be either near or at the top of every single list in this month's Movie Nerds Club. And I can definitely see why, because this is probably one of the best female-led superhero movies that we will ever get, if not the best. This movie came out during a time when the DCEU was struggling, and while I personally love Man of Steel and Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice despite all of its problems, I do recognize that the DCEU was not in a good place. Well, Wonder Woman was essentially a canteen full of water in a desert. Gal Gadot was an excellent choice to play Wonder Woman. She not only nailed down the humor, and not only was she a well-developed character, she could kick some serious ass, whether it's hand-to-hand or with the almighty push. Yes, I'm still calling it the almighty push because I don't know what else to call it. But not only is Gal Gadot great in the movie, but so is Chris Pine, and I'm still very confused as to how he is still alive. Hopefully Wonder Woman in 1984 can explain that. And despite the fact that this is very much a fish-out-of-water story, what I love about the movie is that they don't treat Diana like some kind of dunderhead, like a, "Oh, what is this sorcery?" She is an actual person, and that's what I respect the most. Why is this movie not any higher? Well, for me, the ending is very disappointing. The movie basically builds and builds and builds and builds to a confrontation between Wonder Woman and Danny Huston's character. Instead, it was David Thewlis. It was David Thewlis all along. To me, that was just a swerve that just could have been totally edited out of the movie, and it would have been no different. Much respect to David Thewlis, who rules. But again, that's just a nitpick. This is probably the best Wonder Woman movie that we will probably ever get. Needless to say, 1984 has its work cut out for it. Number 2, Aliens. AKA the greatest sequel title of all time, Fight Me. The reason why I have Alien as an honorable mention is that, well, Ellen Ripley is not the main character of that movie. She is part of an ensemble. It can be argued that the main character of that movie is the Tom Skerritt character, but he gets killed off, and by the end, Ellen Ripley becomes the main. But she doesn't start off that way. If you all disagree with me, that's perfectly fine, but for my standing, I don't think that Ellen Ripley is the main character of Alien. There is no debating that in Aliens, she is the main character. She is the protagonist. She is the babyface. And talk about an amazing movie. Aliens is just a movie that by all accounts shouldn't be as good as it is, and yet somehow is. James Cameron took a pretty subtle and kind of nuanced sci-fi horror movie in Alien and blew it up to make it a big, over-the-top humans versus aliens movie. By all accounts, this should have been bad, but it turned out to be one of the best sequels ever made. Sigourney Weaver as Ellen Ripley is of course excellent in the movie, and you get her frustrations, not only with the Weyland-Yutani Corporation, but just with her trying to get acclimated into everything and trying to work with a team again, because she's jaded. Her team got killed, and so she has to work with others again. It's not easy, but she does it anyway. Also, bonus points to this movie for making me care about the rest of the Marines, who, a lot of them die off, but the movie does a great job of making me care for their deaths. It's good stuff. And number 1, The Terminator. Now, I know what you all are going to say. Well, Ryan, why isn't Terminator 2 Judgment Day number 1? Why is it an honorable mention? Well, again, kind of similar to what happened with Aliens, in Terminator 2 Judgment Day, Sarah Connor was no longer the main character. She was a side character. A co-lead, if we're being generous. Really, the main character of that movie is John Connor, and to a lesser extent, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Those two are the main focus. And that was more than likely done because Arnold Schwarzenegger was the biggest thing going at the time, and so I guess it was done just for the sake of making it an Arnold movie. But as far as the first Terminator goes, there is no doubting that Sarah Connor is the main character and the babyface of the story. Just like he did with Aliens, James Cameron took Sarah Connor and turned her into a very sympathetic character. You feel sorry for her and you root her on as she's being chased by the Terminator, who is an unfeeling and just cold and heartless robot who has one goal in his life: to kill Sarah Connor. Patrick H. Willems, one of my favorite YouTubers, called the Terminator movies slasher movies with car chases. And yeah, that's exactly what they are. And at the end of the day, The Terminator is a movie that never gets old for me. And despite how horrible the Terminator movies will get, I will always have love for the first Terminator movie. And in my opinion, it is the greatest female-led action movie ever. Do you agree with my picks? Do you disagree with my picks? Leave your picks in the comments down below. I'm anxious to hear what you all have to say about it. And also be sure to check out my fellow collaborators in this Movie Nerds Club. All of their videos will be linked in the description of this video. Seriously, go check them out. They're awesome. But that is all for me, guys. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Next time on the channel, coming up this week, I'm going to be continuing with my AFI project, and this week is going to be... It's going to be a rather interesting week because we're going to be jumping all over the timeline. First is going to be my review for Intolerance from 1916. Then on Wednesday, I'm going to be reviewing The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring from 2001. And then on Friday, it will be West Side Story from 1961. So if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below. And if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications. That way, when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.